Everybody already knows how this person feels about you, except you. Hi, my love. Welcome back. Come closer and settle into this reading with me because the energy coming through today feels impossible to ignore. The deeper I look, the more it feels like this person has been trying to hide something that everyone around them can already see. And by the end of this reading, you'll understand exactly why they haven't been able to let it go. The first thing I'm picking up is that this person's feelings are much less hidden than they think. The people around them have already noticed something. Friends notice it. Certain conversations notice it. Even small reactions notice it. The second your name comes up, their energy shifts in a way that's difficult to hide. They may go quieter, become more attentive, or suddenly seem distracted. What's interesting is that they genuinely believe they're keeping everything under control. They're convinced nobody can tell what's going on, but that's not what I'm seeing at all. The cards keep showing me people quietly connecting the dots long before you ever did. And the strangest part is that the one person they actually want to understand how they feel is the one person who hasn't fully seen it yet. Their emotions have become larger than their ability to conceal them. Little things keep giving them away. A look, a reaction, a moment of silence. It's becoming obvious to everyone except the person it's all about. Wait. This goes much deeper than attraction. Attraction explains interest, but it doesn't explain why you keep appearing in this person's mind when you're not even around. There is something about you that reaches them emotionally in a way they cannot fully explain. They keep trying to understand why your words stay with them longer than everyone else's. Why certain memories involving you replay repeatedly. Why one simple interaction seems to carry so much weight. The answer they're slowly discovering is that you touch a part of them that very few people ever reach. Not because you tried to, not because you forced anything, you simply exist as yourself, and somehow that opened a door inside them they thought would stay closed forever. That's what makes this so powerful and so frightening at the same time, because once someone reaches that part of you, pretending they don't matter becomes impossible. They keep circling back to you because something about this connection feels meaningful in a way they haven't experienced before, and they're struggling to ignore it. Now, the energy shifts toward you because some of you have been questioning yourselves. You've been trying to stay logical. You've been telling yourself you're probably imagining things or reading too much into certain moments, but the cards keep bringing me back to the same message. What you're feeling deserves your attention. That doesn't mean you need every answer right now. It doesn't mean you need to rush toward anything. It simply means you should stop dismissing your intuition every time it speaks. Interesting. I keep seeing someone who has become so used to protecting their heart that every genuine feeling immediately gets questioned. Every emotional pull gets analyzed instead of experienced. But emotions rarely arrive with guarantees. Sometimes they arrive quietly and ask to be acknowledged before they make sense. That's what this feels like. Whether this person speaks soon or later, your emotional experience remains valid. You don't need permission to feel what you feel. And once you stop arguing with your own heart, the entire situation begins to look much clearer than it does right now. The next thing coming through is surprisingly serious. This person isn't imagining something casual when they think about you. They're not picturing a short chapter or a temporary connection. The energy feels much bigger than that. When they allow themselves to daydream, their mind naturally skips past the beginning stages and moves towards something lasting. They imagine consistency, familiarity, shared routines. The little things people only think about when they genuinely see someone staying in their life. That's part of why these feelings feel so overwhelming to them. Because they weren't planning on wanting this much. They may have told themselves they were fine alone or convinced themselves they weren't looking for anything serious. Then you arrived, and suddenly those old beliefs stopped making sense. What surprises them most is how natural the future feels when they picture you in it. There's no forcing it, no fantasy they have to create. You simply fit. And that's exactly why this connection feels different from anything they've experienced before. This person has tried to move their attention elsewhere. They've tried focusing on other people, other opportunities, other distractions, but every road somehow circles back to you. The cards keep showing me comparisons happening without them even meaning to compare. Someone says something and it reminds them of you. Someone catches their attention for a moment, but the feeling never lasts. Wait, what stands out is that this isn't happening because nobody else exists. It's happening because nobody else creates the same emotional response. You've become the standard they're unintentionally measuring everything against. And the frustrating part for them is that they know it. They know they've reached a point where other connections feel incomplete compared to what they feel around you. That's why moving on hasn't been as easy as they expected. It's not that they can't meet other people. It's that nobody seems to create the same sense of curiosity, comfort, attraction, and emotional pull all at once. Every comparison keeps ending the same way. Somehow, you remain the person they think about afterward. Okay, this feels important because what attracts this person isn't just your appearance or your personality. It's your strength. Not loud strength, not performative strength. The kind of strength that comes from surviving things. Nobody applauded you for surviving. They see someone who became who they are through experience, through lessons, through challenges. And whether you've shared those stories with them or not, they feel it, they sense it. The cards keep showing me someone who recognizes that your confidence wasn't handed to you. Your boundaries weren't handed to you. Your resilience wasn't handed to you. They were earned. And that's exactly what makes you so magnetic to this person. They see softness in you, but they also see the steel underneath it. They see someone who has been through enough to know their own worth. That's why they respect you as much as they desire you. Because this connection isn't built only on attraction. It's built on admiration too. And for them, admiration is far harder to find than attraction ever was. The first thing this person noticed about you was your softness. You seemed warm, approachable, easy to be around. Most people stop there. They see the sweet side of you and assume they've figured you out. This person didn't. The longer they paid attention, the more they realized there was another side hiding underneath. A stronger side. A side that doesn't tolerate disrespect. A side that knows exactly who it is. That's what caught their attention. They realized your kindness isn't weakness. It's something you've chosen to keep despite everything life has taught you, and the contrast fascinates them. One moment you seem gentle, the next moment you remind everyone you're not someone to underestimate. That's why they keep thinking about you. Not because you're predictable, but because you're not. Every time they think they've figured you out, they discover another layer. And somehow that only makes them more curious than before. The deeper they look, the more they realize there is far more strength behind your softness than anyone expects. Wait, this person didn't become cautious for no reason. The cards keep showing someone who trusted deeply once and paid a price for it. There was a situation in their past that changed how they approach emotions. After that experience, they became more guarded, more careful, more selective about who gets close. For a long time, they convinced themselves they were fine on their own. It felt safer that way. Safer than risking disappointment again. Then you came into their life, and suddenly those old defenses stopped working the way they were supposed to. That's what makes this so difficult for them. They weren't expecting to care this much. They weren't looking for someone who could get past the walls they'd spent years building. Yet here they are, feeling something they can't easily explain away. Part of them wants to move closer. Another part keeps remembering what happened the last time they opened their heart completely. That's the battle happening inside them every day. And the stronger their feelings become, the harder it is for those old fears to keep controlling the situation. This is one of the softest energies in the entire reading because underneath everything else, they feel safe around you. And that's a bigger deal than they usually admit. Around most people, they're careful. They're measuring what they say, what they show, and how much of themselves they reveal. Around you, something relaxes. Interesting. It's almost like they don't have to work so hard. They don't feel pressure to impress you every second. They don't feel pressure to wear the mask they show everyone else. The cards keep showing me someone who feels calmer whenever you're around. Their thoughts slow down. Their energy softens. For some of you, they may not even understand why this happens. They just know that being near you feels different. Attraction brought their attention to you, but comfort is what keeps them coming back, because finding someone who feels emotionally safe is rare. And once they experience that feeling with you, it became very difficult to forget. That's one of the biggest reasons you're still occupying so much space in their heart and mind. They trust the feeling they have around you more than they're ready to admit out loud. There's something very specific about seeing you in public that affects this person more than they expected. It's one thing to think about you when you're not around. It's another thing entirely when you're suddenly standing right there in front of them. The cards keep showing me someone whose attention immediately locks onto you the moment you enter a space. They may try to act normal, they may try to continue whatever conversation they're having, but internally everything shifts. Their awareness of the room changes, their focus changes. For some of you, they've replayed certain public encounters with you far more times than you'd ever imagine. A look, a smile, a brief conversation, something small became much bigger in their mind afterward. That's because being around your actual energy always feels stronger than they expect it to. And every meeting leaves them thinking about you long after you've gone. Even the most ordinary interaction somehow becomes a memory they revisit again and again when nobody else is around. Wait. This person sees something about you that most people miss completely. They see the effort behind who you've become. They see that your strength wasn't handed to you. They see that your confidence came from experience, not luck. Even if they don't know every detail of your story, they can sense that you've been through things that shaped you. That's why they treat you differently in their mind than they treat most people. There is respect here, real respect. The cards keep showing me someone who understands that your kindness has survived challenges. Your boundaries were learned for a reason. Your independence was earned. And the more they recognize that, the more protective they become toward this connection. Because they don't want to be another person who misunderstands you. They don't want to handle something valuable carelessly. That's a huge part of why they're moving more carefully than you realize. They understand that people like you are not created overnight, and that's something they admire deeply. Okay, this is important because the cards keep bringing the focus back to you. This connection isn't built on lack. It isn't built on you waiting for someone to complete you. In fact, one of the things this person admires most is that you seem capable of standing on your own. They don't see someone searching for rescue. They see someone who has already built a life, an identity, and a sense of self. Interesting, that's actually part of what attracts them so strongly. You don't chase validation. You don't seem desperate for attention. You carry yourself like someone who knows their worth even on difficult days. And whether you realize it or not, that energy is magnetic. The cards keep showing me that this connection works because you are already whole. This person isn't being pulled toward weakness. They're being pulled toward strength. And the more they recognize that, the more seriously they begin to see you in their future. Because what they want isn't someone to save. It's someone they can genuinely stand beside. This title isn't showing up because of how you look. It's showing up because of the energy you carry. The cards keep bringing me back to someone who appears soft, calm, and approachable at first, but there's something deeper underneath that people can't quite explain. It's almost like you've learned how to carry your strength quietly. You don't need to announce it. You don't need to prove it. It's simply there. And this person feels it every single time they think about you. They see someone who has been through enough to understand both light and darkness without losing themselves in either. That's what fascinates them. You aren't fragile, even when you're gentle. You aren't powerless, even when you're kind. And the more they understand that about you, the more impossible it becomes for them to look away. To them, there's something magnetic about the balance you carry, and that's exactly why this nickname keeps showing up so strongly. It feels like they see a side of you that most people never take the time to notice, a side that's powerful, resilient, and quietly unforgettable. And every time they discover another layer, their admiration grows even deeper. Wait, this one actually makes me smile because the energy is so specific. This person looks at you and sometimes genuinely doesn't know what to do with their feelings. There are moments when they find you so adorable that it almost overwhelms them. A certain expression, a laugh, the way you react to something unexpectedly. Little things that shouldn't matter as much as they do somehow stay in their head for hours afterward. Interesting, it's not just attraction. It's affection mixed with attraction, which creates something much stronger. They want to admire you and pull you closer at the same time, and that's where the confusion starts for them. Because one minute they're appreciating how sweet you are, and the next minute they're completely distracted by you. The cards keep showing me someone getting emotionally affected by tiny things you probably don't even notice yourself doing, and every one of those moments pulls them deeper into their feelings. The funny thing is that some of their favorite memories involving you are probably moments you barely remember. Yet for them, those small details became something they quietly treasure. The strongest thing I'm seeing here is that this person keeps trying to move on mentally, but they never stay away for long. Your energy keeps returning to them. They may distract themselves with work, responsibilities, hobbies, or other people, but somehow their thoughts always circle back to you. It's almost become automatic at this point. They'll see something that reminds them of you. They'll hear something that reminds them of you. They'll remember a conversation, a moment, or even a feeling connected to you. And suddenly you're back in their mind again. That's why this feels different from a simple attraction. Attraction fades when attention moves elsewhere. This hasn't faded. In fact, it feels like it's grown stronger over time. The cards keep showing me someone who thought these feelings would eventually settle down, but the opposite happened. The more time passes, the more difficult it becomes to stop thinking about you. And that's exactly what's making this connection impossible for them to ignore. Every attempt to create distance somehow ends up reminding them how much space you've already taken up in their heart. Okay, now we're getting to the heart of it, because this person isn't imagining something casual when they think about you. That's the first thing I need to say. The cards keep pushing away any energy that feels temporary or surface level. What they actually want goes much deeper than that. They want access to the real version of you. The version that isn't performing for anyone. The version that shows up after a long day. The version that lets its guard down. They want to know your habits, your routines, your thoughts, your stories. They want to be included in the ordinary parts of your life because those ordinary moments feel more valuable to them than grand romantic gestures. That's what surprises me about this energy. It isn't built around excitement alone. It's built around consistency, around closeness, around being important to each other every single day. And the more they picture a future, the more they realize you're already standing in the center of it. That's why these feelings feel so overwhelming, because what they want isn't a moment with you. It's a life that somehow includes you in it. Wait, this energy keeps getting louder every time I look at it. This person's jealousy isn't nearly as hidden as they think it is. The moment someone else gets your attention, something shifts inside them. They may not say anything, they may not create drama, but people around them notice the change immediately. Their mood changes. Their focus changes. Their energy becomes different. Interesting. What I'm actually seeing is someone who becomes unusually quiet whenever they feel threatened by another person's connection to you. It's not coming from control. It's coming from fear. Fear that someone else will notice what they noticed. Fear that someone else will move forward before they do. That's why this emotion keeps surfacing. And honestly, I feel like certain people around them have already connected the dots. They've seen the reactions, they've seen the looks. They've watched this person become affected by things they pretend don't bother them. That's why the cards keep showing me that their feelings are far more visible to other people than they realize. The only person they're successfully hiding from is you. This energy is intense, but it's also surprisingly emotional because when this person thinks about you, they're not only thinking about attraction, they're imagining closeness. They're imagining what it would feel like to finally stop holding themselves back. The cards keep showing me someone who spends a lot of time wondering what it would be like if the distance between you disappeared, if the hesitation disappeared, if all the unspoken feelings suddenly became real. That's where the wanting comes from. Not simply from desire, but from emotional longing. They want your attention. They want your affection. They want moments with you that belong only to the two of you. And yes, physical attraction is absolutely part of this energy, but it isn't standing alone. It's connected to deeper feelings they've been carrying for a long time. That's why they keep replaying certain interactions and imagining possibilities that haven't happened yet. The more attached they become emotionally, the stronger those thoughts become. And what I'm seeing is someone who is struggling more and more to keep those feelings locked inside where nobody can see them. The energy around this card feels complicated because the biggest thing holding this person back isn't a lack of feelings. It's actually the size of the feelings themselves. The more they care, the harder it becomes to act naturally around you. Wait, this feels like someone constantly stopping themselves right before they say too much, reveal too much, or make a move they can't take back. They keep thinking about the risks instead of the possibilities. What if they misread the connection? What if they finally open up and everything changes? The cards keep showing me someone standing at the edge of honesty while fear keeps pulling them backward. And yet, something is changing. The emotions have become too strong to comfortably ignore anymore. Every day they remain silent, feels heavier than the day before. They're getting tired of carrying all of this alone. That's why I keep feeling pressure building around this connection. The longer they hold themselves back, the harder it becomes to maintain the distance they've created. Something eventually has to move. This energy is much deeper than simple attraction. Yes, the attraction is absolutely there. They notice you. They think about you. They feel pulled toward you in ways they don't fully understand. But what keeps coming through is that the attraction is connected to emotion, not separated from it. That's why it feels so intense. They don't just want your attention for a moment. They want more access to your world. They want more conversations, more time, more closeness. The cards keep showing me someone imagining what life would feel like if the distance between you disappeared, if the uncertainty disappeared, if all the unspoken feelings finally became real. That's what keeps replaying in their mind. The attraction opened the door, but the emotional connection is what made them stay. And that's why these feelings continue growing instead of fading. What started as interest slowly became attachment, and what became attachment is turning into something much harder for them to ignore. The question isn't whether they feel it anymore, it's how much longer they can keep pretending they don't. This energy isn't finished yet, not even close. If this reading found you at the right time, let me know below what part hit the hardest. Thank you for being here with me today, and if you'd like to support the channel, super thanks is always appreciated. I'll see you in the next reading, because this story feels far from over.